Yo, Knicks Nation, what is good? It is officially NBA free agency. It tips off in just a few hours, and this is going to be crazy because the Knicks are linked to a lot of different players, and in the trade market, in the free agency market, we're seeing rumors about Obi Toppin potentially being traded away for just draft picks of the Indiana Pacers. We saw a report that Emmanuel Quickley's been included in trade packages for a star in his prime. We hear that the Knicks are interested in James Harden. They're looking into Paul George. And they're favored to land Dante DiVincenzo. And Bruce Brown is also going to have a meeting with the New York Knicks. So definitely some crazy stuff happening with these New York Knicks, and I wanted to go live and give you guys my overall thoughts, but more importantly, get interactive with you all in the live chat to hear where Knicks fans are, where they're at. Where do you want them to go? Which players you want them to trade for? Which players you want them to sign? Which players you want them to trade away? That's what this live stream will be all about, so buckle up. We got a lot of things to talk about in today's show, so please do your boy a solid favor by simply hitting that thumbs up button on your way into the show, and let's get it rocking, baby. We're going to zoom in just a little bit. There we go. There we go. How's everybody in the chat doing? Dak, my guy, what up? What's up, Dak? Welcome to the show, man. What's up, that man, David? What's good, bro? So let's start off with Dante DiVincenzo, because it feels like that is the most likely situation for these Knicks of where they're going in free agency. It seems like they have pinned their focus in on Dante. And, hey, first thing that comes to mind is the Villanova boys. All right, you're reuniting Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and DiVincenzo. All won the title in college. Now, he's a really good role player. Now, I think that this Knicks team, we know that we'd prefer another star to pair up with Jalen Brunson. But, hey, if you bring back Josh Hart, does not seem like Julius Randle's going anywhere. I know that might upset some people, but that's the reality of what this team and what this front office has shown so far. And if you want to add more talent depth-wise, Dante makes a lot of sense. But then the big question is, who is he replacing? Right? That tells me that they're not looking to extend Emmanuel Quickley, because Emmanuel Quickley is the sixth man of the year candidate last year. Second place. Young, eligible for a contract extension. We saw a report that he's looking for a long-term deal worth a lot of money, and we don't know if the Knicks are going to be actually giving IQ that money. So the question is, would you rather pay a player in Emmanuel Quickley that you can argue has more upside and who is younger, more money, or go out there in free agency and get a guy like Dante who is older, not that much older, he's 26 years old, has chemistry with the Nova boys, and proves to be, a winning type of player? That's what the Knicks front office seems to be weighing. Now, Bruce Brown is another interesting player because I think it's going to be either Bruce Brown or Dante who the Knicks bring in free agency. Now, when it comes to the big fish, James Harden, we saw a report today that the Knicks could be very aggressive. They could be really aggressive for James Harden. And based off of what I've seen from Knicks fans in my comment section at least, and based on, all Knicks media subscribers and, interacting with my channel, does not seem like to be a popular option for the New York Knicks fans. Now, I want to put up a poll, and I want to hear from you guys live, but it definitely doesn't seem like you guys are on the wave of going all in for James Harden and pairing him up with Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle and R.J. Barrett and Mitchell Robinson. Now, I find that interesting. Now, the other question is Paul George. Is Paul George a player that you think will help this Knicks team out? Now, the issue of Paul George, he's definitely past his prime, and has injury problems all over the place. If Paul George can play 75-plus games with this Knicks team and be helping the playoffs, I'm all for playoff P. But his injuries are the things that hold him back. And he also has like a $45-plus million cap hit this season, so it'll be really interesting to see how the Knicks would even figure that out. I also saw, I think, who was it? Steve Popper that brought up the hypothetical that they could do a 3-team trade because the Los Angeles Clippers are really interested in James Harden. So maybe Paul George gets sent to the Knicks, James Harden gets sent to the Clippers, and then the Knicks are trading away some assets to make that whole thing work. The Knicks could be interested in doing that. So there's a lot of stuff happening with these New York Knicks. And I'm here to break it all down and give you guys my thoughts of it, and more importantly, hear your guys' thoughts in the chat. Asburbs, what's up, man? What's up? Marcel, what's good, bro? What's good? Gideon's in the chat. Salute, Gideon. Gideon says, I wouldn't mind trading for Paul George, Brandon Ingram, Michael Porter, even though it won't happen, James Harden, Miles Turner. Yeah, I think that Paul George, you could definitely sell me on that idea. I think that a big wing, an established wing like Paul George is kind of what this Knicks team needs. But again, the issue with him is the injury bug, right? The injuries Paul George has been suffering has been kind of concerning to me. So, guys, if you're just tuning into the show, do your boy a solid favor by simply smashing that thumbs up button. It's the Knicks Free Agency Frenzy Show. Free agency kicks off tonight, and it's going to be pretty wild. I don't expect the Knicks to make any moves right at the opening of 6 p.m. Eastern Time because, last year the Knicks signed Jalen Brunson right as the clock struck free agency, and they got hit with tampering. So I think the Knicks are going to be a little more smart in this, but we did hear from Ian Begley of SNY. He said himself that, and I quote, let's hear it. Ian Begley uploaded a video of him saying, I think if the money is equal or close to equal, DiVincenzo will end up in New York. Now, that is an interesting quote from Ian Begley, because that makes me believe that it's a very likely chance that we're talking about Donte DiVincenzo as a member of the New York Knicks. And I expect that contract to be around $12 million per year, something along those lines. I think that this is something the Knicks fans are going to have to start wrapping their heads around. So let's start off with that. Who is down for Donte DiVincenzo? Let me know. Fugazi with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. That means a lot to the channel. Thank you so much, my man. He says, we ready today. Let's go. Yes, sir. We ready. Let's go. Hold on. I'm just putting on my AC. I'm a little hot. We ready today, baby. We ready for whatever comes our way. And it seems like Donte is coming. I ain't gonna lie. So, Fugazi, again, thank you for the $5, my friend. Means a lot to the channel. I do not want James Harden. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people say the same. George or Levine, in my opinion. Yeah, Paul George, I don't really know if I'm on the fence, if I'm a Zach Levine fan, personally. I mean, he's a baller. He's good at ISO, one-on-one. He's a bucket. But I don't know if Zach LaVine is what's going to make this team get over the hump. I don't know. Am I wrong for thinking that? Maybe. Donte can shoot and has title experience. I mean, if you want to base this off the Nova culture, you bring in Josh Hart, you connect Josh Hart with Jalen Brunson, and it was just a perfect match. And then imagine what Donte is going to bring. Exactly what Gideon mentions. Title experience, culture player, perfect role utility guy to come off the bench, play hard, understand high IQ basketball, plays with good team effort, and just has immediate chemistry with the guys likes of Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson. Rose with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Rose. This means a lot to the channel again. Another generous super chat. Thank you so much. Rose says, do you think any other superstars become available for trade? Not sold on Harden or Paul George. Absolutely. There is going to be superstars that's going to become available that nobody is going to expect. And that's something that we all have to wrap our heads around. There are players that we don't know about that is about to become available. Now, it's not guaranteed. I get all that. But if the NBA has taught me anything, is expect the unexpected. I mean, who the heck would have thought that the Knicks would be linked to James Harden in the first place? Not me, at least. Did you guys expect to see that tweet from Woj that the Knicks are one of two teams going after James Harden? That's what I'm talking about. Who the heck would have thought that? So, again, I think that other superstars becoming available is a possibility for this Knicks team. And there is also a chance that this Knicks team runs it back and they don't go after a star. And they keep the team in-house. They make minor moves. They get Donte DiVincenzo. The starting lineup seems the same. And we just maybe have a couple more players off the bench. And then the next year's is where we go all in. I don't know. There's a lot of different options for this Knicks team. And I'm excited to see which route they go. Smash the likes. Yes, sir. You know it, Gideon. Appreciate you. Maybe after the Harden trade, not to New York, Embiid becomes available within the next few months. That could be another domino to fall. You never know. Joel Embiid. I mean, if the Sixers are trading away Harden, what's their plan? Right? I don't know what their plan is outside of, they were just in the They lost in the playoffs again in the second round. They're not going to blow it up and go trust the process again. They're in win now mode. They have a freaking MVP on their team in Embiid. So the fact that the Sixers want to trade Harden after him opting into his deal is definitely telling of the direction of that franchise. Now let's talk about Obi Toppin real quick. I made a video on my channel just a few hours ago about this topic. But according to Ian Begley, the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers have engaged in trade talks surrounding Obi Toppin and draft compensation. Now, this tells me that the Knicks are looking after another player to fill in that backup power forward role behind Julius Randle. I guess they don't see Obi Toppin as a piece to the puzzle that they like, not someone that they want to extend. They have Julius Randle. They want more of a role player. They'll accept the role. Because if you look at this from Obi Toppin's perspective, man, that man wants to play. I mean, obviously he's going to put the team first, and he's a good teammate, and all those things. But if you're looking at it from an Obi Toppin perspective, his agency, his camp, I mean, Obi Toppin has not had a chance to prove to be a starting level player in this league because of Julius Randle ahead of him. It's that simple. When Obi Toppin got the opportunity to play, he thrived. We saw it at the end of the season 2 years ago when Randle got hurt. Obi Toppin was averaging like well over 20 a game. He had pretty sure a 40-plus game. He was balling. So Obi Toppin wants to go to a team that's going to let him spread his wings, right? Let him play. And the Knicks don't give him that opportunity to play because of Randle. And again, it does feel like, and I know, don't send the hate at me, but it seems like the Knicks are keeping Julius Randle and he ain't going nowhere. Because that's what this offseason was really telling. Are the Knicks going to move on from Julius Randle or are they going to keep him? Right? Hold on 1 second. Sorry, guys. Just got to get some water, man. This is going to be a crazy stream. Got to stay hydrated. What about Cat? Not the biggest fan of Karl Anthony Towns, Marcel, personally, because of the contract that he has on the books, man. That contract scares me. I happen to be a believer in Mitchell Robinson. I know that he's not a stretch five like a Cat, but I do think that Mitchell Robinson is going to be the starting center for this Knicks team. I'd prefer them to go after a wing. They don't need a center. They need a wing. Someone to replace Grimes in the starting lineup and then have Grimes come off the bench. Nothing against Quentin Grimes. I like him as a player, but Grimes is a perfect player off the bench. If we're talking about championship contender, we need Brunson, RJ, and then a player like a Paul George, Randle, Mitchell Robinson. That's a starting five. With Josh Hart off the bench, with Grimes off the bench. If they get Dante DiVincenzo off the bench, if they keep Quickly, if they trade Obi, I don't know. Hardenstein's still there. I mean, there's a lot of decisions to be made here. And this is where it all comes down to. Don't give me Harden, man. Please. That man is Houdini in the playoffs. Now, Knicks fans know all too well about players who are ass in the playoffs. Julius Randle. So, yes. We do not want players to come here and be regular season stars and fumble the bag in the playoffs. We can all agree that Julius Randle's a damn superstar in the regular season, but when it comes playoff time, not even close. Now, Jalen Brunson, on the other hand, he proved to be able to be a star in the regular season and the postseason. We need players like that. RJ Barrett, hey man, he had 3 total bad games in the playoffs. Started off 2 games, bad basketball. Finish off that Cleveland Cavaliers series in the first round playing excellent ball. And then throughout the entirety of the Miami Heat series until the final game, which was where we needed him the most in Game 6, RJ played poor. So I think that RJ Barrett proved to be able to handle the pressure and play good basketball, and I want to keep RJ. Now, Randle, on the other hand, yes, he was playing through an ankle injury. Yes, he had surgery in the offseason. I get all that, and he wasn't 110%. But he has to be able to prove himself in the playoffs, and he still hasn't done that. The playoffs was his chance to be able to say to Knicks fans, I'm your franchise guy. We like you, Julius. But we're not going to love you until you can be the reason why we are moving on to the playoffs. And that was just Jalen Brunson, man. It's that simple. We need defense on the starting lineup, though. And that's kind of why I'm really leaning towards Paul George, man. I know it's not likely, but Paul George, he's that defensive wing that can knock down the three, who's clutch, and can do it all. 3-level scorer. But Paul George is going to be expensive, and he has an injury concern that is tagged with him. Knicks have a bright future. Of course they do. I think PG-13 out of all the options is the one that I want to happen the most, personally. That's where my head's at. Go get me Paul George. And let me have a lineup of Brunson, RJ, Paul George, Julius Randle, and Mitch, with Josh Hart off the bench, Dante DiVincenzo off the bench, Isaiah Hartenstein, and Grimes. And that, I guess, means that the Knicks are trading away quickly in Obi. I don't know. And the reality is, folks, we have to trade away players to get players. And that's what the Knicks front office has to figure out. Not an easy job, but it's the free agency frenzy. This is where all things collide. If the Knicks have a bright future, why destroy what they built? Well, the Knicks have a bright future. We're not destroying anything. They have so much draft assets to work with right here, which is why now is the time to go all in. Now, maybe they're going to hold on to the assets for an even bigger superstar, but there are a lot of assets to work with here. I'm not saying sacrifice everything we built just for this season. That's not what I'm saying. You got to still have a long-term perspective of this team. But they got the assets. They got the young players on the team for trade assets as well. We'll see where they go, man. Seems like they're going after Dante DiVincenzo and Bruce Brown in free agency. I saw Joe Ingles as a potential player as well. And, of course, Harden and Paul George in the trade market. Clippers are not trading George without getting Barrett back in the deal. George is so overrated and is old and constantly hurt. Listen, I think that the constantly hurt is definitely an issue. And he is a little inconsistent. That's definitely for sure. It's either he's on and he's elite, or he kind of just cannot get a bucket for the life of him. But he is clutch in the playoffs. I feel like that's something you can't knock Paul George's game. He shows up when you need him to show up in the playoffs. Villanova Knicks. Yeah, baby. Give me Dante. I'm warming up to the idea. I mean, when you've paired up Hart and Brunson, we saw a different type of Knicks team. And if Dante's another missing piece of that puzzle, then yeah, let's go do it. Putting Grimes on the bench for Harden would not end well. Yeah, I feel you. Tibbs has to go, or we need to get an offensive-minded coach. Tibbs' rotation sucks and barely runs plays. Now, yes, I hear where you're coming from, but I'm here to tell you the sad truth. Tibbs ain't going nowhere. If Thibodeau was getting fired, he would have got fired by now. But it seems like Tom Thibodeau is staying at least one more year. And this is probably his last year to prove himself to be able to adapt. And he showed some flashes. You know, remember, the Knicks had a top 10, one of the most highest-rated offenses in NBA history in the regular season this past year. But when it came to the playoffs, he didn't adjust, right? And that's an issue. I don't care about what happens in the regular season. I need to see success in the postseason, right? We're over it. We're happy about the regular season success, but we got that. We got to the playoffs twice in the last 3 years, and Knicks fans are like sick and just going to the playoffs and losing in round one, going to the playoffs and losing in round two. We want to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. We want to go to the NBA Finals. We want to shoot for the damn stars, baby. That's what it's all about. I prefer OG or Kuzma. So these two players I have not seen anything about connecting to the Knicks. Anything could happen. Bro was getting sold by Westbrook and Melo in the playoffs in OKC. Yeah, I mean, that was a minute ago. I know where you're coming from. I hear you, brother. I hear you. So we got 50 people watching right now. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. We got a lot of Knicks content coming your way. We're inching close to 11,000 subscribers. So if you guys want to help me out and hit that sub button, that would mean a lot to the channel, of course. And if you did not already, consider smashing that like button. Let's go Tobias Harris is another player that apparently the 76ers are trying to hold on to. I don't know if I want Tobias. I mean, he is like a 3-and-D player who's a Long Island native. I get all that. I mean, he's not a star, but he gets paid like one. I don't know, man. Tibbs learned from Doc, not a good teacher. Yeah, I mean, Doc Rivers is an interesting coach, to say the least. They do have a lot of similarities, though. You are right. You are right on that. We got 25 likes with 48 people watching right now. Let's get that thumbs up button rocking. Let's check Twitter real quick to see if there's anything that is going on. There's so many different reports and news to talk about. It's kind of overwhelming. Whether they're going after Obi Toppin in a trade to send him away, Bruce Brown, James Harden. What is it going to be? I really can't wrap my head around the fact of us trading Obi Toppin yet, though. It just hurts, man. How do you guys feel about that? It just hurts that we weren't able to give Obi the fair chance. Seeing Obi Toppin getting traded is not going to sit well with me. I'll be straight up with you folks. It's not going to sit well with me. Especially on the Indiana Pacers. Ugh. And Emmanuel Quickly. I mean, we're not getting Harden or George without giving up a Quickly, a Grimes, an Obi, a Deuce, an RJ, right? That's just the reality of it. We're not getting these stars without it. But I don't know, man. Maybe that fallout with Obi and Thibodeau was serious. More serious than we think. I still believe Leon Rose is waiting for Joel Embiid. Could be. I mean, can you imagine the asking price for Joel Embiid? He just won MVP, bro. We would have to sacrifice everything. Our entire team. Don't trade Obi and Quick. I'd rather trade RJ. Interesting. I'm okay with trading Obi. What can we realistically get out of him? The business so dirty. I tend to disagree with this. RJ actually stepped up in the playoffs. Emmanuel Quickly disappeared in the playoffs, and then he got hurt. And then Obi, he was okay in the playoffs, but he never really got a chance to really thrive in the playoffs because of Randall. But even when Randall wasn't playing early on in the playoffs, Obi, well, he's playing good. But at least RJ actually stepped up in the postseason, man. 4 first-round picks at least, even with the injury history, for sure. The reality is with Randall here, Toppin is not going to play more than 13 minutes. Exactly. And if you're Obi Toppin, I'd want to, I mean, you can't blame him for wanting to get traded from a team that's not letting him play because he wants to get paid, and he's not going to get paid a rookie max contract extension based off of playing 13 to 14 minutes a game. If you give Obi Toppin starting minutes for throughout the entirety of the season, no matter what team you are, I bet you he's putting up 20 plus. I mean, that's how talented Obi is, in my opinion. But and he also plays scared under the Knicks. It feels like he's on the court and he's so afraid of making a mistake that if he makes a mistake, he's yanked out of the game. He doesn't play with freedom. It's a sad truth. Obi has so much potential. I agree, James. Obi, his defensive IQ is so low, he can't rotate and his man always open. He sometimes closes out on defenders because he's athletic, but not that good enough. Well, defensively, you got a point. But offensively, he's a force to be reckoned with. He moves the pace. Whenever Obi Toppin comes onto the floor, all of a sudden the pace goes up to another level. The game for the Knicks opens up. They're in transition. They open up the court. Things are flying. Alley-oops. Right? That's what Obi Toppin brings. I think Obi on his way out. I tend to agree, Tony. I think Obi is on his way out, and it seems like the Indiana Pacers are the favorites to land Obi Toppin, and the Knicks are just looking to get draft picks back. It better be a first-round pick, bro. If they get multiple seconds or something ridiculous for Obi, I'm going to be pissed, bro. Just saying. Do you think Zion is a realistic option for the Knicks? I really don't, man. I mean, let's be honest. Do you guys want Zion Williamson right now? I mean, the idea of Zion, I think, is better than the actual production of Zion. That's the thing. I think everyone is still holding on to the name Zion Williamson and forgetting the fact that he hasn't played basketball and feels like forever. Offensively, he's a scorer, but we have a grit and grind culture, and that comes with playing good defense. Agree. I know what you're coming from, man. Elite Wolf says, I don't hate Randall, but I think we need to trade him. He came in 2019, and yes, two All-NBA years, but the guy is not good in the playoffs. I would rather keep Obi, give him an actual chance. Yeah, I see where you're coming from, and it seems like the Knicks front office isn't going this way. And that's the sad reality of it. It's so frustrating because Julius Randle's not a bad basketball player. I mean, you don't just get two All-NBA honors and two All-Star appearances and just think that you're a bum. But when you play that good in the regular season, expectations rise in the playoffs, especially in New York. And when you crumble it, not once but twice, it's going to be hard to prove that he's the guy, right, folks? Aren't they trying to get Jeremy Grant? He's the player that's really good and an unrestricted free agent. Well, the Knicks don't have a lot of cap space to work with, so they can't really outwardly sign a big player in free agency. That's the issue there. That's why James Harden and Paul George are being traded for, because we'd have to match it financially. In order to land a player like Grant and pay him the contract that he's looking for, we would have to move a lot of contracts around. But Grant would be an interesting piece to this team. Zion would distract the team. He has too much going on with BS. Yeah, Zion is living off of his name, Zion Williamson, more than his productivity on the court, right, guys? But the reality is, man, the Knicks are going after James Harden. The Knicks are going after Paul George. They're also going after Dante DiVincenzo and Bruce Brown. Now, I don't see them landing all four of them. I don't see them landing all three to the four, two to the four. Definitely one of these four players that are listed on this screen, I think is going to be a New York Knick. Definitely. And if I had to guess which one's the most likely, I think it's going to be Dante DiVincenzo. Because of the reality that he is a free agent, he's not going to cost all that much. The Knicks are the front runners. Ian Begley said that if the Knicks match any offer, it's most likely that he's going to be a Knick. So buckle up. Dante seems to be coming to New York. The Villanova boys are coming together. And if you can win 2 chips in Nova, why can't you win 1 in the NBA? Come on. Jalen Brunson has championship pedigree. We all saw the superstar that he is. He better be a damn all-star next year, by the way. Josh Hart as well. So you get Dante. Hey, you never know. If Fournier is still on the team to start the season, we know our front office didn't do crap this offseason. We should at least have that one trade. Honestly, forgot Fournier is still even on the team. Well, I didn't actually forget it, but, it's just crazy that Fournier is on this team and he doesn't even play. That is the piece that the Knicks have to trade away to match financially, right? Any trade that they make is going to have Evan Fournier included to match the financials. Because Fournier's not going to be on the team. Let's just say it straight up. He ain't not going to be on the freaking team to start the season off. There's no way. We don't need Harden. He don't feel the culture. I feel you on that. Last time a Philly boy came to the Knicks, we went on an 8-game winning streak. So I'm talking about, man, I don't want James Harden. Is there anybody that does want James Harden? Because I don't think I've encountered one person that wants James Harden, which is funny. He's a guard, though. We need an upgrade at the wing position. You talking about Dante? Dante is a piece off the bench that the Knicks are probably looking to add. Now, he's going to replace a Quickly role. So the question is, are they trading Quickly and replacing him with Dante DiVincenzo? That's what I don't understand. You bring in DiVincenzo, there's not a space for him in the rotation. So there are some missing moves. Brunson, $33 million next year. What a bargain. Williams, cheaper than that. $27 million. We got him on a descending contract. $29 million last year, $27 million this year, $25 the year after that, and then $23. It's a descending deal. Now, I do expect Brunson to opt out of that contract eventually to get paid more, but hey, it's more of a bargain than you think. Harden going to be out of the league soon. Harden going to get that mellow treatment. Possible. I honestly haven't seen one Knicks fan say, oh my God, Harden to the Knicks? Sign me up. I haven't seen one. Which I find very interesting. Folks, if you're just tuning into the show for the first time, my name's Richie. I cover the Knicks over here on Knicks Media, so make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Hit that thumbs up button if you're just tuning in for the first time. Knicks free agency frenzy is here. 6 p.m. Eastern Time is when it all begins. Now, again, I don't think that the Knicks are going to make moves right at the start of free agency based off of them getting in trouble last year when they signed Jalen Brunson right as free agency opened. So we're going to have to be patient. I think signings going to start coming in throughout the weekend. If not tonight, tomorrow for sure. So buckle up, folks. It's going to be fun. So that's going to wrap up this live stream, guys. I want to go live for like a half hour, give you guys my thoughts because there's so many reports to talk about where I couldn't fit it in one video. So I want to talk about quickly potentially being traded for a star. Obi Toppin potentially being traded away to the Indiana Pacers for draft picks. The Knicks potentially going after James Harden and Paul George in the trade market. And I'm also interested in Dante DiVincenzo and Bruce Brown in free agency. So that's something to keep in mind, folks. These Knicks are making moves. How would Brunson and Harden fit exactly? Good question. They're both ball-dominant lefties who need the ball in their hands to execute. So I don't know if that would work, but I think James Harden is a far-fetched idea, personally. But hey, the crazier things have happened. Maybe the Knicks see something that we don't see. And I also need to let you guys know that the Knicks are going to be making moves potentially that some of us are not going to be in agreement of, and that will shock us. So keep that in mind. I'm going to get out of here, folks. If any news breaks, I'll be breaking it on this channel, on Knicks Media. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, guys. Let's go Knicks as always. Peace and love. Catch you guys next time.